Mr. Mahoney, I think we're back on the record. So the question before you is, would it be more difficult for you to get out here to court than it would be for you to get to 4th and Broadway court?
And that's the question. I still have that same objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
Where it would be hard for him to come to Crown Point versus coming here.
What's the question?
Withdrawn. But I think it's been asked and answered. I think we've been...
Well, I'll let him answer it again. Go ahead.
You answered that question, did you ask?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions. Judge, just so we're clear on that, I believe we moved to admit Exhibit 5 and the other.
Yeah, it's admitted.
That's correct. Afternoon, Mr. Mahoney. You were involved in juvenile 4D proceedings back in 1993, correct?
Yes.
And that was for your son, Jordan, correct?
Yes.
And Jordan's now over 21, is he not?
No, it's not. 19.
He was born 8/28/1991, correct?
Right. Yeah, you're correct. Yeah.
So that puts him at least 21, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you're currently also involved in proceedings in divorce court, is that correct?
No, I'm not in divorce court. I'm dealing with child support.
In the domestic relations court at 4th and Broadway in Cary, correct?
But that's what it's called. But I just go. I was just. They just called me down there to talk about my arrears. Didn't have anything to do with my divorce.
But it's captioned in your divorce case, is it not?
I guess. Well, what are you saying?
Have you seen the most recent order that set your hearing for the first week of April?
Yeah, I have it right here.
And that's set in Cary, is it not?
It doesn't say. It's setting in here. Yeah.
Just so we're clear, what you're holding there in your hands is also what we have labeled as Defendant's Exhibit D.
Yeah.
And that's in a case entitled with regard to the marriage of America Mahone and Carlton Mahone.
Yes.
And that's the document that you referenced that says it's sitting in here, correct?
Yes.
Under cause number 45 DO3 0804 DR 34, and you're going to have to help me with the last numbers because it's not good on my copy.
It's TPH.
Thank you. And you've not received a notice to come to any hearings in the future in Crown Point, is that correct?
No, I haven't.
Nothing further.
Redirect.
Please. The matter regarding your son, Jordan, is a 4D case, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that 4D case was heard in 4D court, is that correct?
Yes.
Right. And that matter still before the court because you still paying support, is that correct?
Yes.
On the rear?
Yes.
So if you had to come to case to court on the matter pertaining to Jordan, and that 4D court was in Crown Point, that would mean you'd have to come to Crown Point, wouldn't it?
Yes.
No further questions.
Anything?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You may step down.
Sir, my exhibits this at your notice.
At this point, we'd like to call John Bell.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, Bill. Stand and be sworn, sir.
Raise your right hand. Swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes, I do. State your name for the court, please. John Dull, D-U-L-L.
And, is your, middle initial S?
Yeah. John S. Dull. Stephen, S-T-E-P-H-E-N.
And can you tell the court what your occupation or profession?
I'm the county attorney for Lake County. Been county attorney for 30 plus years. It'll be 31 this July. And I was the attorney who lost the case when Judge Bonaventura moved to Crown Point.
You mean when the juvenile court was moved? Right?
Yes, when the juvenile court, I was participated in that case.
And at the time, 30 years ago, when that juvenile court case was moved to Crown Point, where was the 4D court located?
The 4D court, I can't remember whether it was actually in existence at that point in time, but I recall it being in Judge DeNicholas's purview in the city of Gary.
Was that 4th and Broadway?
Yes.
And at that time, the juvenile court had physically moved to Crown Point, Indiana. Is that correct?
Yes, they were located there when we lost the case. Better judgment was to accept that decision. I felt that it was the correct decision, and so we didn't appeal. And we built the facility across the street.
But what is the history of the 4D court after it was under Judge DeNicholas's supervision in Gary, Indiana? What happened since then?
Well,
4D court.
I think Judge DeNicholas decided that it would serve a better purpose if it was transferred under Judge Bonaventura, and but it was in Gary for a long period of time.
And so the matter of the 4D court was not exclusively within the juvenile court jurisdiction. Is that correct?
Objection calls for a legal conclusion.
I can't hear.
I think you might want to rephrase the question.
Yes, let me see if I can rephrase the question. There are portions of the Lake County system that have administered the 4D functions other than the juvenile court.
Well, there are other people who participate in it. You've got the clerk who participates in the 4D, and of course you've got the prosecutor who has a 4D function. They work not as a team or a group, but each one of them has a separate role. Court deciding the cases, the prosecutor bringing them, and the clerk keeping the records.
And you mentioned earlier that Judge DeNicholas is a person who was over the 4D court.
That's what I recall. I can't remember the magistrate at that time. I think his name was Gillis, and I think he was in Judge DeNicholas's little spread in Lake Superior Court, civil division.
Okay, and for the record, so the record would reflect that actually Judge DeNicholas was not a juvenile court judge, is that correct?
Correct.
So that the functions of the 4D at that time were under Judge Nicholas, who was a civil court judge.
That's correct.
Is that correct? And until February 1st of this year, can you tell us whether or not, if you know, whether or not that 4D court had remained in Gary ever since its inception?
Depends what you want to ask, whether I know now or whether I knew, on that day. I did not know at that time that the 4D court was holding court at Crown Point. I didn't know that. I know now that the 4D court has been holding cases in Crown Point prior to that, but I didn't know that then.
Sure.
Okay.
And however, you did know then, and you did know now, that the 4D court was also being conducted at 4th and Broadway, where it had been since its
That's what I thought, yeah.
Is that
Yes.
Okay. And do you know when the 4D court remained in Gary, even though the juvenile court was moved to Crown Point, were you involved in the decision for the 4D court to remain in Gary?
No.
No. Have you had the occasion to contemplate, consider, or communicate with persons of the court system pertaining to who has the authority to move the 4D court?
Yes.
From Gary to Crown Point?
Yes.
And in fact, you've been involved in some correspondence with members of the Lake Superior Court in that regard, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And who were those?
I think it was Judge Bonaventura and Judge Parrott that I consider.
And for the record, Judge Bonaventura was at the point of your communications was the juvenile court judge, is that correct?
Yes.
And what about Judge Parrott?
He was the chief judge of the Lake Superior Court.
Okay. I'm going to ask that the reporter mark these documents. Plaintiff's Exhibit 6. And if I could, I will hand the reporter back with Marcus, the reporter, as the reporter Marcus 6, and ask that that label could instead be affixed to this Plaintiff's Exhibit 6 before I hand it to Mr. Dillon.
Now I will hand it to Mr. Dill for his review, so he can tell me if that's some correspondence that he had with Judge Perro, Judge Bonaventura, and I would refer the defense counsel to the pages in its discovery that it provided us, pages 79 through 86.
679.
If I could, Mr. Bill, let me show this document to you. Well, you can go ahead and look at that if you will.
79 through 86.
Page 79 of the discovery to the end of that correspondence section. That would be page 90. Last page on your 91.
That's a good number.
79.
Yeah, I sent an email to both Judge Bonaventura and Judge Perro, and Judge Bonaventura responded to the email. And that's what's here.
And there were comments from Judge Perro, right?
Well, I haven't seen him, but yeah, that top.
And I would like to move that document be admitted evidence to 36.
I'm going to object. There's hearsay here. This is out of court. Statements off.
From who?
We already have a part from Judge Bonaventura in the record. That's not hearsay. Mr. Dole's out of court statements would be hearsay, and the statements go to the ultimate legal conclusion that this court has to decide. He in here posits what his opinion as to how the League Superior Court should conduct its activities, whether it was required to vote. And I don't know Mr. Dole.
He's a county
As
attorney.
a learned attorney, but his opinion isn't any more important on this matter than any other.
I'll give it the weight.
Really, it's for Your Honor to decide what the law is.
Let's see what he said. Overruled.
So Dole, can you?
Well, here's why I wrote it. Okay.
Let me ask you about the first part of that, and we know we do want to summarize so that we can get to the next witness. But can you tell us what you said to the Chief Judge, Mr. Perro, in response to his position, and to Judge Bonaventura with regard to?
Well, I wrote both of them.
I'm going to object first, Your Honor, to hearsay he's reading from a document that's already evidence.
Well, you can testifies what he told him.
Okay, I never talked to Judge Perro.
Okay.
And I never talked to Judge Bonaventura.
What did you communicate to them, though?
I communicated to them what's in this email.
Just tell the court what that was, please.
And it's basically this, that based upon the experience that I had in reading the statute, the late Superior Court could determine the locations. And
when you say the late Superior Court, can you
I mean those 16 judges voting as a unit determine their location under the statute. That's the case that I lost initially with Judge Bonaventura, okay? She got the entire group to approve her move to Crown Point at the time she initially sued us. And so I knew that in this particular instance, it was a budgetary thing. I was trying to remind her that, if she's moving that, she needs the entire court to do it, to make that decision, that we were short of money, and I was concerned because some of the information that Bob Reeder had received seemed to indicate that there was going to be a real big expense, okay? And I was just saying, you know,
A real big expense to
the county. Okay, now, just so you know, as it turned out, that information that Reeder received was not 100% true, okay? That the number of people that were moving and what was being asked for in that, the information was not communicated correctly from Judge Bonaventura to the secretary to Reeder, okay? So I was excited because I saw it as a real big project, and I was basically just sort of alerting her to the fact that, you know, we weren't going to respond with those improvements unless the Lake Superior Court was the one that wanted the vote to move.
Okay, now, when you say the Lake Superior Court, of course, you mean the unified Superior Court judges.
16 judges that constitute that court, okay, the way I read the statute, and I know it's a legal opinion, they vote on and they determine the location of where the courts are held. What I was saying to Judge Parra was this, okay? I know why Judge Bonaventura was doing it. It was because of efficiency. Okay? That's why she was doing it. You can see that. I was saying to Judge Parra then in there, if you're going to do that, then you can't stop there.
Okay, well, before you get to that, Mr. Dell, let me ask you this. Now, the point that you were making earlier about the unified Superior Court judges, that's the same unit that voted to move the court from the juvenile court to Crown Point from Gary in, I believe you said around 2000?
Yes, originally Judge Bonaventura filed the lawsuit. We were arguing, you know, that little jockeying when you're going through the lawsuit, and then she got a letter and approval from the entire 16, or the other 15 judges supporting her position that it should be moved.
And what you would indicate is that you need the same group to authorize the move of the 4D court from Gary to Crown Point. Is that correct?
Objection, Your Honor, that's a legal opinion.
Well, he read the statute, he's a lawyer, and he gave an opinion as county attorney. Overruled.
I was saying, yes, I wanted to do that before we started.
Let me ask you before you go to that next statement. Let me ask you this: with the, in addition to the need to have the unified court in concert rule decide on that rule, were there any documents that you became aware of? Well, strike that. Are you aware now that on February 1st, 2013, that the court, the 4D court in Gary, which had existed since its inception, was shut down, and those operations were moved to Crown Point?
Yes.
Okay. And prior to that time, were you aware of any documents, of any studies that were conducted on the demographics that would be affected by regarding the users of the 4D court?
Current ones, no. Current, no. I did some studies back in '97.
Right. I'm talking about current, entire to February 1st, 2013.
No.
Okay. And are you aware of any transportation related studies, current transportation related studies regarding the access that would be required of the users to the 4D court?
No.
And tell the court what, if at all, you have seen with regard to access by the users by way of current studies in conjunction with this move from Gary to Crown Point?
I've seen no studies.
Okay. Mr. Dell, considering your expertise, experience, and information, you have an opinion on whether or not the defendants, Ms. Judge Parra and or Judge Bonaventura, have the authority to move the court from Gary to Crown Point starting February 4th or February 1st, 2013.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. That's the ultimate, or one of the ultimate questions that Your Honor has to decide at this point. Mr. Doyle is the county attorney.
It's a question of law. I'll decide issues regarding the law.
Well, first of all, my question wasn't what the opinion was. The question was, does he have an opinion?
Yes.
And have you stated that opinion in your documents?
Yes.
No further question.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. When the 40 court was initiated in 1982, it was under Judge Mayers, was it not?
Judge who?
Mayers?
That I don't know. I really don't.
So then you don't know when it was transferred to Judge Stavitas?
Do I know when it was transferred to who?
The
Judge
Nicholas.
Nicholas.
Well, the question is, since facts not evidence, there's no evidence that it was transferred to Judge Nicholas. He said he didn't know if it was under Judge Nicholas.
I don't know.
Do you know if it was ever with anyone other than Judge Nicholas?
No.
Are you familiar with the document referred to as the Maximus Report?
Yes, I am.
And you've studied that and written on that and done some presentations on that, have you not?
No.
And the Maximus Report essentially was a 1,000-plus page recommendation for more efficient and economic operation of the county.
Operate.
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to object because this is beyond the scope of direct.
It's beyond the scope of directive. It's not relevant to this case.
It's going to become relevant with my next question, Your Honor.
All right. Well,
It's not relevant now.
let's see what his next question is. Go ahead, counsel.
One of the recommendations of the Maximus Report was consolidation.
No reported evidence that he referred to.
Based on the Maximus Report, you've made recommendations regarding consolidation of the courts in general in Lake County, have you not?
Object, Judge. This isn't a general transfer of functions from one place to another. This is a 4D court case. Gary to Crown Point, February 2013.
You can go and ask if he himself has made any recommendation as to consolidation.
Have you made recommendations?
Yes, I have made those recommendations in the document, and I presented it to the Bar Association at a bench and bar, I think maybe 3 years ago.
And those recommendations on consolidation that you made went beyond just moving a 4D court to Crown Point. Is that correct?
Judge, I object. If it goes beyond moving the 4D court from here to Crown Point, it's beyond relevance to this case. No foundation for it.
They're saying consolidation is bad in this instance. I think the opinion has been,
Yes, I did.
and your opinion was that consolidation would save the county a good deal of money, would it not?
Yes.
And when you wrote Exhibit 6, which you have in front of you, you weren't aware that there were already 4D proceedings being held in Crown Point, were you?
No, I was not.
Were you aware, or are you now aware, that when there were two court systems operating, one in Gary and one in Crown Point for 4D matters, or for juvenile 4D matters, that those cases were assigned on a random basis?
Yes, I know that because I've spoken to Judge Garza, Magistrate Garza.
But that's not something you knew when you wrote
No, I
Exhibit
did
6.
not.
And since the move on February 1st of 2013, there wasn't the big expense that you envisioned when you wrote Exhibit 6, is that correct?
Object, Judge. It's not relevant to the question. The question here is whether or not he had the permission, the judge had the permission of the unified court system.
It was something that was raised on direct examination, is when he wrote this letter that they're relying so heavily on, that he was concerned that there would be some big expense with additions and...
Overruled. You can answer, Mr. Bill.
Okay, know that the magnitude of the expense that I expected has not today been realized.
Are you aware of various county divisions that have closed or moved their satellite courtrooms without a vote of the Superior Court judges?
Object is he uses the term satellite courtrooms. There's no evidence that this is a satellite courtroom. I'm with this witness.
Courtroom, satellite courtrooms would...
I think it's a semantical argument, Your Honor. Other things beyond where the...
If there's been any other moves without vote.
I'm not aware.
You're not aware of any moves related to a court that was sitting in Lake Station?
That's the answer, Judge.
No.
That's the answer. No.
I have specific questions for you.
Overruled if there was a court in Lake Station.
Are you aware of a court that closed or no longer holds session in Cedar Lake?
No.
How about Lake Station?
No.
Are you aware of any court moving the location of the probate commissioner, where that probate commissioner hears cases?
Yes, I'm aware. But I think the same commissioner is going to the 3 locations that he was going to before. I think that's, I don't know if that's your answer. Okay?
But you are...
A lot of it goes to Hammond, East Chicago, and Gary. And the judge has a probate commissioner on here. But he's not part of that unified system.
But you are familiar with the probate commissioner moving from place to place?
Yes.
And that's not a matter, to your knowledge, that the Superior Court justice or judges voted on, is it?
I do not know.
No further questions.
Redirect.
Briefly, Mr. Dell, you asked about the probate commissioners floating to different locations. You're aware of the probate commissioners court in Gary closing in February 2013?
No.
In fact, it's still operating, isn't it?
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
Anything else?
No follow-up, Your Honor.
You may step down. Mr.
Okay,
Bill.
thank you, Judge.
Thank you. This is adjourned for the day.
Your Honor, we have one witness that we'd like to take out of order just because they're here.
They're going to take.
That's Mr. Bennett. His testimony shouldn't take long. As we could just get him in today, he can go back to his work across the street at the Juvenile Justice Center tomorrow without having to hang out for a whole other day.
Any objection to do that?
Who is he, first of all?
Robert Bennett.
Yeah, that's his name. But who is he?
He's the superintendent of the Juvenile Justice Center across the street.
Let's take 5 minutes and then we'll come out, finish him up, all right?
All right.